Hello, and welcome to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today is rights and responsibilities. We talk about rights. It's always in the news. Our First Amendment rights, right to free speech, right to bear arms, which is Second Amendment, of course, right to organize, right, freedom of religion, all these freedoms. And you hear this all the time. And these are so very important for everyone. But what you don't hear about are the responsibilities that go along with these rights. The rights we enjoy, or we're supposed to enjoy, aren't something that's just given to us like it's a package. Here, take it. There are expectations, both hard and soft, for the responsibilities as a citizen. I mean, to start with, if you're a naturalized citizen, what are your rights? You're supposed to defend the Constitution. Most Americans, at least a third of them, lose on that front as well. You're supposed to vote. Likewise, you're supposed to pay your taxes because you got to feed the beast and the government needs its money. But those things are enumerated rights that if you're a naturalized citizen, you're supposed to do. But the other responsibilities that we so take for granted and we've so gotten away from is, what's your responsibility to your neighbor? What's your responsibility to the civics of this country? The founders envisioned that we were supposed to be an informed electorate. It's scary how many people are not informed, and they're not informed because we don't teach civics anymore. But you're supposed to be informed. You're supposed to take care of your neighbor. You're supposed to participate in the system. So the key, really, if you had to lump it together, the two things we should do, are supposed to do, and haven't done to enjoy these rights is information, be informed, and participate in the process. And I don't care if you participate at your local level, your state level, or your federal level. But it is really a shame that in 2020, which was the highest turnout, I think, in 100 years, don't quote me, but in the presidential election, only, and I say only, 66.8% of the U.S. voting population voted. That is so unacceptable. Where's the other 33%? What are you doing? Now, I know we're all making a living, but remember, the rights that we enjoy are predicated upon, A, being an informed electorate, and if they're not teaching it to us, then we'll learn it, and participating in the system. And if you're not doing those things, it explains why your rights are being diminished, our rights are being diminished, day by day, coming out of Washington, because the founders really created a strong state system, and it wasn't really a strong federal system. But mission creep from the federal government gets us here. Remember, along with rights comes responsibility. First and foremost of that is be informed and get involved and take care of your neighbors in the process. We'll be right back with the main show. Hello, and welcome to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin.
Ericka Redic.
My lovely co-host, Ericka. After that monologue, this show is going to be about rights and responsibilities.
My favorite.
Ooh, right. Well, hey, have monologue, we'll travel. So I want to jump, we have stayed away. We have assiduously, you like that word? We have assiduously tried to stay away from this whole President Biden, Hunter Biden thing, because there's so much crap being thrown out here, and it's so politicized.
And you want to sometimes you want to wait. It's like, okay, what is real?
Right.
What is provable? Not what is the salacious, nonsense, right? Let's see what actually is getting shaken out.
Right, which I think we've done a good job doing. But now everything is sort of coming to a head here. So what do we have? We have, obviously, the Hunter Biden plea deal falls apart. I want to get to that in a second. You have Devin Archer, who is a former partner of Hunter Biden, now testifying before Congress in closed doors, by the way, but there are no secrets in Congress. So the minute the closed door testimony was done, it was leaked, of course, right? And I want to stay out of the political realm in all of this. I want to deal with just the facts that we know, And then you have Senator Chuck Grassley, right? I don't know if he's officially called the Lion of the Senate anymore, but I think he's the oldest serving senator who declassified an FBI form that they got redacted about the Hunter Biden investigation, right? So I want to go to a couple things, right? So the Hunter Biden plea deal, let's start with that one. Have you read the plea deal or why it fell apart?
Well, I've read some of it. It's all a bunch of nonsense. To me, the plea deal was, I mean, it was no one has ever got a plea deal this good in the history of ever.
Well, that's true, but let me read you the plea deal because it doesn't take long about the plea deal. The wording on the plea deal is very simple. And most people, again, so people listen to news, but they don't look for facts. Here's the facts. This is the exact wording for the plea deal. The United States agrees to not criminally prosecute Hunter Biden for any federal crimes.
That's all it said?
So that's it.
You mean for
folks,
the prostitution and the lies and the gun charges? It was just going to do none of it?
No, well, so basically it was, the illegal carry for the gun and the registration and those things. But the plea deal was worded that it would be a total exoneration of all crimes, not just the ones associated with this case, all federal crimes, from the point of the plea deal backwards. The judge obviously said this is ridiculous. The assistant prosecutor, assistant attorney general prosecutor, then backpedals and said, "Oh, that's not what I mean."
I'm sure
he would be liable. The Hunter Biden team then says, well, if that's the case, there's no deal, right? But here's the real key to all of this. Had this plea deal gone through, and again, folks, those words are from the plea deal. Don't believe me? Look it up. Had that plea deal gone through, it would not really just have protected Hunter Biden, but it would have protected Joe Biden. Because if the FBI and the Department of Justice was not allowed to investigate any prior deals involving Hunter Biden, they all involve Joe Biden, which we now know from Devin Archer.
Yeah, none of that evidence would come out.
So because they wouldn't prosecute or investigate Hunter Biden. See, it's all linked. Right. Hey, I don't make this stuff up. I mean, right. This is, to quote Jonathan Turley, I think it's Georgetown or is it GW law professor. I think it's Georgetown, I don't recall, who basically said this is potentially one of the greatest, criminal acts or greatest violations, acts of treason, basically in U.S. history. But let's go on. So we have the Hunter Biden plea deal, and again, folks, I want to stay with the facts, and I just want to connect the dots for you. So that's the first thing. You then have Chuck Grassley, who unredacted the form that he got from the FBI, and that form, let me give it to you so that you guys don't think I am making this stuff up. And that form is the FD 1023 form, right? So what ends up happening is, and again, it redacted references to text messages, financial records, everything, right? What it showed was that Burisma, and again, now you understand why when Trump mentions Burisma during the election cycle, they went after him hard. And do you remember when Joe Biden actually stood up in the press and said, oh, yeah, I'm the one that got Viktor Shokin fired. And Viktor Shokin was basically the Ukrainian equivalent of attorney general.
And he was investigating
so it now turns out that
Burisma.
He was investigating Burisma. So again, folks, I just want to stay with the facts. And the facts are there is now documents that $10 million went to $5 million went to Hunter Biden. $5 million went to quote unquote another Biden.
Yep.
Okay. And then there you have Joe Biden basically saying, I'm the one who got Viktor Shokin fired.
And they were,
so that's
my understanding is that it was literally, so the guy is investigating Burisma because of these payouts and because of the corruption that was going on.
And other payouts. It wasn't just for the Bidens. They were corrupt, period.
Generally. And that that Hunter was actually put on the board so that Joe Biden could get him fired, essentially. That they used that.
Well, basically, they were going to bring I think they call it the team or whatever they call it, the brand. They call it the brand. They refer to, and by the way, folks, this is why we call it the Biden crime family. Or you could call it Biden Inc. along the lines of Murder
they
Incorporated,
have a
right?
brand.
Murder Inc.
Just like New York has a brand, right? According to the mayor.
Now, right. So what people don't know is I sent you that video before the show and said, have you seen this? There's an old video going around. The old reporter, Sam Donaldson, John McLaughlin from PBS NewsHour, of all these things that Joe Biden said when he ran in like the 80s or 90s for the president, that I graduated, third in my class.
All the times he lied and plagiarized.
And that he plagiarized from Neil Kinnock and other things on video. So you clearly have, look, maybe he was just senile back then. I don't think so.
He was a much younger man.
So here's the third piece to the puzzle though, right? So you have the plea deal falls apart. You have the whole now unredacted FBI form that shows that the Bidens got $10 million, right? And by the way, that doesn't count the Hunter Biden laptop. That doesn't count the money we know that they got from China. It doesn't count the IRS whistleblowers who said the fix was to basically whitewash this. I'm just staying with the facts as we know them now, right?
That have already been shown.
The third piece
in
of
Congress,
this,
proven,
right. The third piece of this is Devin Archer now testifies that there were 20 times that Joe Biden got on a conference call on a speakerphone with his son with Burisma and other deals, and basically, was part and parcels of, putting these deals together. And it's pay for play. It's bribery.
And Devin?
Pure and simple.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. One better. They have Joe Biden on tape. They have Joe Biden on tape.
So it's not just, my daddy's sitting next to me?
No, they've got him recorded on tape.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, I'll shut up.
Oh my God. Devin Archer, that's John Kerry's son-in-law, right? So.
No, I don't know who he is. No. I take it back. I don't know Devin Archer's background other than, by the way,
son-in-law. Benjamin, would you verify that for me?
By coincidence? Yes. So Lord Benjamin, who's Devin Archer? We need to know that. The Department of Justice, because there's a conviction against Devin Archer already, tried to jail Devin Archer over the weekend so he couldn't testify to Congress.
Oh my God. What?
You could not write a Robert Ludlum novel.
Oh my God, Devin. Be careful. You might end up hung in the jail cell.
Right, along with Epstein.
Make sure that he doesn't have any pajamas or sheets.
Oh, so I guess he's, well, you know what? They'll bring him there.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing. So you have the Hunter Biden plea deal falls apart because of this whitewashed wording, and you have the prosecutor backpedaling and Hunter Biden saying deal's off. Then you have Senator Grassley, who I met the other day, by the way, and I had a nice conversation with him. I asked him if we're going to impeach, Biden, and he sort of looked at me, and we're going to get to impeachment in a second, right? And again, folks, we did not want to go here because all of a sudden you're getting into this political football and Trump this and Biden that. Let's just stay with the facts, right? We've tried to wait for the facts. You have the plea deal that falls apart. You have the unredacted FBI investigatory form that Senator Grassley, releases to the public. You now have the closed door Devin Archer conversation with Congress, with the committee. And it's verified that there are not only 20 times that Joe Biden, at the time, by the way, wasn't president, it was Vice President Biden, right? And you have him on video. And then you have the Hunter Biden laptop. So we're talking about rights and responsibilities here. The question now becomes, because we always talk about rights, and as I talked about in the monologue, we have the right to free speech, we have but the question is now responsibility. What is Congress's responsibility in all of this? I realize that the Republicans do not want to launch an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. You have the Democrats who launch an inquiry twice into Trump for impeachment with no evidence. You have a freaking mountain of evidence. hard evidence against Joe Biden of treason, and I don't say this lightly, right? The charge, I'm not saying he committed treason. I'm saying there's enough evidence. There was enough evidence to warrant an inquiry. And understand something. The way the process works is the House has to launch the inquiry. The House is controlled by Republicans. The Republicans are already afraid they're going to have Donald Trump as at the head of the ticket. And again, I don't want to get into the Trump thing. I love President Trump. That's not the point, right? The point is in this sort of power politics game. The Republicans do not want to launch this inquiry. And my argument to you in Congress is it's your freaking responsibility to launch an inquiry, or better yet, let's get a special prosecutor, but Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, doesn't want to do that because he'll lose control of it. But frankly, I don't see how he avoids it.
I don't see how he avoids it either.
What do you say? What do you say to all that? I mean, I know I'm ranting.
No,
I get it.
You're not ranting. Here's the thing. Our founding fathers said, if there is one thing you must impeach for, it is bribery. So when you say that there is a responsibility from Congress to do an impeachment, we are now saying we now have official evidence. It is now provable that Joe Biden committed bribery. He used influence peddling while he was vice president, and he has repeatedly lied to the American people. That is an impeachable. This is all impeachable. And so if we don't,
I got it. But understand what impeachment is. So impeachment is not a guilty verdict. Impeachment is, first there has to be an inquiry. The House has to start. They can't just say you're impeached. They have to form a committee. And
have a process and go through
like the wonderful Adam Schiff did, right?
The trial.
They have to go through the inquiry process. And then if there's enough evidence, then they vote to impeach. And impeachment doesn't remove you from office. And impeachment is an indictment, basically, and says that there's enough information to warrant a trial. That's what impeachment is. So
if the Republicans do not do that, they are a bunch of cowards, and every single one of them deserves to be removed from office. Because if we're going to do this thing, there is no more of this, we got to take the high ground. We got to take the higher ground and not do the blah, 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 blah. The cowards in the legislature, the Republican cowards, have been doing this for decades. Well, we're not going to play by their games. We're not going to do the same stuff. No, it is mutually assured destruction. If they are going to play these games.
Is that your man voice? Is that your man voice when you lower your voice like that?
I am tired of the nonsense, and I am so sick of the sucker ass whiny baby cowardice Republicans that we have either in the House or Senate. They are absolutely dead wrong if they do not bring an impeachment inquiry and impeach this guy. Dead wrong.
Well, okay. You can't say impeach the guy because the inquiry has to establish the facts. The facts are what I just gave you. Immutable facts. Let me read one last thing because you know how I love to read stuff. Well, look, the question really is, Congress, do your job. House of Representatives, do your job. Regardless of if it hurts you in the long run, do the right thing for the sake of the right thing. And that's the stuff we've gotten away from. So Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution states, the President, Vice President, all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. That's all it says. It's that simple. It's not really... There's no wiggle room here. There's no kind of pregnant. Either President Biden did these things, and now, by the way, you have this nuance thing going on where you're having some lead Democrats who I think sense blood in the water are basically saying, well, the Constitution says it has to happen while he's in office. Hell no. That's not, it says nothing about timing. In office, before office, after office, whatever. It says nothing. I read you what it says. That's the Constitution. And to my friends and colleagues who are on the Hill, who are in the House, do your job. If the follow the evidence, wherever the evidence leads, regardless of the
That's right.
consequences. Because that's what we've gotten away from. You have the plea deal wording that just fell apart, that would have whitewashed and exonerated not only Hunter Biden, but would have
That's
inoculated, essentially, President Biden. You have the unredacted FBI investigatory form that Senator Grassley released to the public. You now have the Devon Archer testimony under oath
Yep.
before Congress, and there are recordings of Joe Biden on
That's
these
right.
calls.
Yep. And that's
So if that's not grounds to launch a
impeachment inquiry.
impeachment inquiry, and again, you start with the inquiry. Look, the president is like everybody else. He is innocent until proven guilty. I am not
Correct.
rushing to judgment. Oh, he's guilty. There is such a preponderance of evidence here that if the Congress doesn't do their job, and these are the Republicans
That's
I'm talking
right.
about, if they don't do their job, we will vote all of them out. And look, I understand that there's a political price they may pay here. Who cares? This is someone at some point has to draw a line and say, we are going to do the right thing for the country, regardless of the political ramifications.
The Democrats set the political standard. They did an impeachment inquiry into Donald Trump for this same thing without evidence. So they have a duty and a responsibility to do the same with Joe Biden. And just so for a correction,
Ericka, you always want to see the positive in things. Has it occurred that maybe the Democrats did that because they knew this was coming?
I mean, who cares?
Right?
Again,
I mean,
doesn't matter.
But the Democrat, look, remember how we talk and you say, they're evil or this. I said, they're dumb. I said, they're not dumb. They're very smart. I will tell you one thing, and we're getting the high sign. We have to go to break. I will tell you one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Joe Biden will not be.
That's right.
The Democratic nominee for president in 2024. They're not going to be because of this. What's going to end up happening is someone's, it's a Richard Nixon kind of thing. They're going to go to him and say, Mr. President, you have to withdraw, claim it's for your health, fall down another set of stairs, do whatever you got to do, but you cannot be the nominee. And I'm sure there'll be some threat of, we're going to let the impeachment go forward if you don't do that.
I bet it's going to be
mark
Gavin
my words,
Newsom.
ladies and gentlemen.
How much do you want to
bet?
bet?
Heard it here.
I bet it's going to be Gavin Newsom.
Bet.
I just really quick before we go to break. Archer met Hunter Biden through Christopher Hines, who is John Kerry's stepson.
Oh, the Hines family.
That's right. So they met through a mutual connection. So it's not his stepson, but they met through the stepson. And, again, I am betting Gavin Newsom is the Democrat nominee.
Oh, totally.
Yep,
Totally.
I'm calling it right now.
Totally. Folks, you are listening to Of the People with Robert Chernin.
Ericka Redic.
The lovely Ericka Redic. And we are going to make some money as the true bourgeois capitalists we are. We will be right back.